December 26, 1973. For most 7-year-olds, the day after Christmas is a time spent playing with new toys and eating leftovers. For me, it was a time spent surrounded by all the things that go bump in the night. My father used to work as a makeup artist for horror movies, so this particular day had been marked on his calendar for months. The release of The Exorcist. The drive-in was having a special midnight showing. As preparation, my parents spent the entire day watching every scary movie they could get their hands on. I had no siblings, and toys that I quickly grew bored of. So I found a comfortable spot on the couch and settled in for Night of the Living Dead and Psycho. As midnight neared, the phone rang. "Hello?" My father's voice boomed, drowning out the screams on screen. Seconds later, he was back in the living room, sighing and shaking his head. The sitter canceled. "We can always go tomorrow night," my mom suggested. I didn't want to be the one to ruin a night my dad had been looking forward to for half a year, so I spoke up. "I can go with you." My dad's face lit up, but my mother crushed his hope when she said, "You don't need to watch that, honey." "But I've been watching scary movies all day." "That's true," my dad said. After a few minutes of discussion, my parents decided that I could tag along, on the condition that I would remain in the back seat and occupy myself with the Raggedy Ann doll that had become my favorite Christmas present. 2 hours later, I was in the back seat of the Mustang, listening to the crackling sound of a girl my age getting possessed while I played with some stuffed doll. Who's to say what made me feel so sick? Maybe it was the movie, or the butter-soaked popcorn. But by the time the credits rolled, I wanted to vomit. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to ruin the night. As we pulled onto the road, something flashed behind the car. I thought maybe it was a cop pulling us over, but it was green. A bright green that pulsed like a lighthouse. I looked out the back window and saw a green orb that seemed to disappear, then reappear every few seconds. The more I watched, the more my head seemed to spin like Reagan's. "Dad? Mom?" My voice came out small and scratchy. "What is that?" "What are you talking about?" my mom asked as the green light danced across her face. My dad did a quick glance through the rearview mirror. "There's nothing back there, honey." They couldn't see it. I watched the green light flash until it went out like a candle. As I turned my attention back to the front of the car, I noticed something that didn't make sense. We were driving down a dirt road with a wall of trees on either side. We had gone to the drive-in dozens of times, but never taken this route home. "Where are we?" I asked. No answer. "Mom? Dad?" Still no answer. A low hum started coming from the radio. 1,000 flies and mosquitoes at war. It grew into a raging sound that threatened to bust the speakers and my eardrums. I wrapped Raggedy Ann around my head to try and block out the awful noise, but it was no help. As the hum grew louder, a flash of green enveloped the entire car. As the light faded, so did the terrible noise, and suddenly the car was sliding. My dad let out a series of colorful words as he pulled at the steering wheel so hard I thought he may break it. The trees spun around us in a blur. Just as the car came to a stop in the ditch, I saw a green orb disappear into the forest that surrounded us. "Honey, are you okay?" my mom asked, leaning over her seat and removing the doll from my head. I looked up just in time to see my dad getting out of the car. "Where's Dad going?" I asked. "He's checking the tires. It sounded like one of them busted." My need to vomit came back with a vengeance, and with it came the green orb. It barreled through the windshield like it was gliding through thin air, without so much as a crack in the glass. It flew past my mom, sending strands of dark hair in every direction, and came to a stop inches from my face. The growl coming from the orb caused my skin to feel like it was crawling off my bones. "Mom! Make it stop!" "Make what stop, honey? What's wrong?" She still couldn't see it. The orb moved closer until it was touching my nose, turning my vision into nothing but blasting green. Help! I reached out to push the invader away and felt my hands catch fire. They sizzled and popped as flesh ran down my arms. What's going on? It was my dad. And then, the orb was gone. The growling was replaced with the quiet sound of the radio. My chest heaved up and down as I looked at my hands, only to find they were normal. My mom scowled at my dad. I told you she didn't need to watch that movie. I didn't see the orb again that night, but every night since then I've caught it watching me. It's always outside my window when I sleep, or right behind the car when we're driving home. Sometimes it's accompanied by the humming or growling, but usually if I ignore it, it goes away. There are times, though, that it gets so loud blood runs out of my ears and I lose track of time. Days or weeks go by that I can't remember. It's been getting worse.